Hello, hello, and welcome to today's live conversation with one of our speakers from the Women Thrive Summit. I'm excited to have you all here. Make sure you join us in the chat and let us know where you're watching us from. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking the author ceiling, reclaiming your voice, and personal power. And today, I am joined by one of our speakers, Brenda Hukel. Hi, Brenda. How are you?
Hi, Ramonda. How are you?
I'm great. Where are you joining from?
Connecticut. Connecticut.
Wow, and I know you're enjoying a good snowstorm there right
Yep,
now.
it's coming. It's coming. It's going to be here within the hour. But
Oh,
that's New
Brenda,
England.
we have had a great pleasure of getting to know each other for quite some time now, and you're going to be speaking at the Women Thrive Summit in
Mhm.
March. But I would love for you to introduce yourself to our audience who may not know you yet.
Hi, I'm Brenda Hukel. I am a women's empowerment and authorship advisor, and I've got over 30 years experience in HR, OD, and I left my executive career at 55 to open my own business, the Awakening the Conscious Within. And after 30 years of working with women and just watching their personal struggle, I felt a very strong pull to walk away and write my book, Courageously Authentic. And since then, it's gone global, and I've won multiple awards, and I've been featured in USA Today, Associated Press for my work in women's empowerment. And my book actually ended up in New York Times Square on their electronic billboard. So it was the right move to make. And what I share with the women I work with is, when you follow your calling, you follow what's in your heart, then everything flows. So it's just getting on the other side of the fear of making that change.
Mm. What is courageously authentic?
Courageously authentic is when you reach a point in your life that you step into who you are at the core. And when you do that and you are aligned with your authenticity, then nothing else matters. Everything else is irrelevant because you don't allow anyone to control you and you don't allow the world to define who you should be. So you release the limiting beliefs, you release the generational conditionings, and you finally return to who you were born to be. And that takes courage. That's why I named my book Courageously Authentic. And in my book, as I actually I walk women through all the barriers that stand in the way, the fear, the limiting beliefs, the imposter syndrome, so that when you get to the end of the book, you're actually aligned with Christ consciousness. And when you're aligned with Christ consciousness, you drop the fear. You dropped everything that is preventing you from living your life the way you want to live it and not the expectations from everyone else.
Wow. I was just going to say that being ourselves can be the hardest thing.
Mhm.
Why is that? Why do we struggle to be authentic and ourselves?
That's a great question. One of the things I have seen and worked with my clients on is as we're growing up, from the age of 0, when we're born, to age of 5, and there's differing theories on this, but we are absorbing our parents' beliefs, their judgments, their biases. It's because our conscious mind isn't developed yet, so we don't have that discernment. So if you grow up in a family where you have a dysfunction, where your love is conditional, or your parents set such high expectations, where you thrive for perfectionism, right? These are just two simple examples. You take those beliefs because you're already formed as a little adult. You take that into your adulthood and you don't realize that you're operating off of your parents' beliefs. You're not operating off your beliefs. So that's why a lot of women suffer from imposter syndrome, because it's being passed down from their parents. And it's not about blame, it's about awareness. So when you have the awareness that your belief system isn't yours, then you can make that shift. Then you're ready to awaken and make those changes. So that's what I work with women on. And I had recently expanded my work to working with women who want to write a book because they want to tell their truth. And it's not the writing that stops them. It's the vulnerability of going out to the world saying, this is what happened to me. What's my family going to say, or what's my friends going to do? Will I be disowned if I tell my truth? And so my services and my tools that I've designed, I purposely designed them that they can either it addresses both the transformational side, the limiting beliefs, the fear of being seen, fear of being heard, and then also the practical side of authorship. So they can either work privately, because a lot of them, like I mentioned, the showcase yesterday, is they suffer in silence because they don't want people knowing, their family knowing, or their friends knowing that they're struggling. So my tools are designed that they can work privately, or they can work with me through coaching.
Mm. I think we all have a story or experience, but some of us may not know just how powerful it is or
Mhm.
how impactful it can be. And because, this is our story. It's like, you, but
Mhm.
you don't realize that actually somebody else needs your story out there. Do you think there is that, I don't know, lack of awareness of just how impactful our story can be?
Yeah, what happens because women suffer in silence is they feel on some level, right, that they're the only ones feeling that level of shame or the level of regret, whatever the experience they went through. But what they don't realize, as soon as they share their story, is they're bridging that gap from isolation to freedom. Because when a woman says, I feel the same way, I understand, then that opens this whole it opens up a whole community of women that can come together and heal together.
Yeah, I have really experienced that. I remember when I first time shared my story, and it was actually coincidentally, I was writing a book as well at the time. And I realized just how strong and how powerful it
Mhm.
is when you start to speak your truth and you start to open up vulnerably and invite other people into that conversation. I remember people reaching out to me and saying, I've had the same experience. I've
Mhm.
lost my voice as well due to trauma, depression. I've been bullied at work, or, other reasons why women have lost their voice. And they haven't met anyone who shared their story in the way that I did. And I've never met anyone who shared my story with me. So it was such a moment for me and them to realize that they're not alone and somebody else speaking up about it. And it gave them a permission to share their story,
Mhm.
which I thought, wow, I was so grateful for that moment.
Yeah, I've had women reach out to me. It went actually just the other day, and she said that she shared her story with me that, she suffered from depression for years, and then she was labeled as having mental issues. When then she finally found someone that says you can heal yourself, right? But she said your book saved my life because it's the first time I feel like I've been seen and heard. And when I wrote
Mm.
Courageously Authentic, I was very mindful of the words I use and how I structured the book because I wanted to take them on a journey. It wasn't about me, it was about my readers because I wanted to touch the hearts and minds of women across the globe and reach a broader audience so the suffering can stop and that they can like you said, give themselves permission to just be themselves. So women are reaching out to me and saying, it's like you're right there with me, Brenda. You're meeting me right where I'm at. And that's confirmation that because I put so much time and hours and effort and tears into this book to make sure it was structured and written just the way that anyone, regardless of their background, their education, can pick it up and relate to it. So you're right. You're right, Ray. As soon as you share your story and you share your experiences, the women will find you. They'll
Mm.
find your book because they need it and they're going to find it at the right time.
Yeah, it always amazes me when someone says, I read your book and I read your story and
Mhm.
I'm so inspired. And it usually happens sometime after, or when you do get the chance to have that conversation, and you don't realize that without you having once you write a book, without you having to necessarily go on to proactively speak on social media or speak on stages or whatever, your book does the heavy lifting on having those one-on-one conversations with your ideal audience. It's through that book that you create that connection. Of course, you've got to advocate for your book, but once it's in the hands of a reader, that's where, the transformation starts to happen and the relationship starts to happen without you even knowing.
Hmm. That's true. That's true. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So now you help other women to write and publish their books?
I do. Yep. I I started getting a lot of the women reaching out saying that they wanted to write, so I expanded my whole
Mm.
toolkit, and so that's been pretty rewarding. I expanded it last year because I wanted to make sure I did, like I said, the transformational piece, but also the other piece. But it's at the summit, I'm going to be presenting breaking the author ceiling, and that what I'm going to talk about there is really reclaiming your voice and your personal power. And this session is going to explore so many different components, but it's going to explore how women are held back from writing the book because they're so afraid that once they go out and tell their truth, that they don't know what's going to happen. And that vulnerability, and
Mm.
that's I want to remove that vulnerability by sharing their truth with the world. And I'm going to present my 5-step signature framework, which really walks them through the emotional barriers that keep them in a state of fear and resistance. And then for the practical side, I'm going to present my Courageously Authentic Writer's Toolkit, and I'm going to give $500 off of the toolkit just for the week of the summit because I want women who really want to write a book. I want to give them all the tools that they need. So when they sign up, they're going to get the author's self-authorization kit for free. But for those who sign up for a VIP, I'm actually giving away the author positioning snapshot, and that's an AI-powered tool that it's worth $149. But basically, it's a tool that helps them articulate how to present their book and themselves as an author across all social media and speaking platforms. So
Wow.
there's going to be so many tools and free gifts that I'm giving away just because I want them to step into their power. I want them to step into their voice.
Yeah. Wow. That's really, really amazing. And I love that yourself and other speakers have been really, intentionally preparing your gifts and resources,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just about speaking. It is really about making that impact. And those gifts have been so, so thoughtful, to make sure that our attendees, can not just get the inspiration or just see you in your spotlight, but actually take action on something that they desire. Brenda, I can't tell you how many times I started a book, and I know how many other people started their books and never finished it,
Mm-hmm.
never completed it, because of fear, because of lack of accountability, guidance, support, encouragement, know how, all of those things. If so, I want to say to my audience, if you are thinking about writing a book, or if you have many book ideas or even unfinished books in your shelves or digital shelves, this is the session that you need. And it's time in this year to actually get your book published. Especially if you're wondering what if, especially if you're struggling with that fear, because it's real. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I've published probably more than 50 authors, including multiple of my own stories within these books. That fear right before you hit publish really kicks in and
Yep.
says, who are you to do this?
Yep. And then when you publish it, you're just like, it's so overwhelming because writing the book is actually the easy part, right? It's everything else is the publishing and the social media and all that. But, when you write about your lived experience and you write a self-help book, what's going to come up is all the emotions and are unhealed. They have to, because you're going out to the world to share and help other women. So you have to allow that integration to take place. And that's why so many women, after they write the book, they get so overwhelmed with, going out to the world and really sharing their truth and then versus the whole publishing piece. That's why I put the whole package together. Because you're right, that fear, it could be paralyzing.
Yeah, and that's what causes you to have unfinished books, which is,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great shame. I still regret, there was a moment in time where I was writing a book around, visibility using Instagram, and I parked it up about 60% in, and I was like, I never picked it up again.
Now it's
It's a shame. It's a shame because, you know what happens? you deny somebody the opportunity to have access to that knowledge or that story or that
Mhm.
experience if you just had it published. And, that over perfection, that over fear, that over overthinking and having imposter syndrome, the impact can be much greater
Mhm.
than the impact of feeling maybe not good enough.
Think about think about Brene Brown, Maya Angelou. If they were allowed their fear to take them over and not come out with their line of work, look what we've been missing. They're remarkable ladies. So when I have a woman ask me, should I tell my story? Does it matter? I say, yeah, it matters. Who's to say you're not going to be the next Brene Brown?
Yeah.
Right? Who's to say you're not going to be the next Maya Angelou? We don't know. We don't know what's on the other side of the fear. And that's why I really am so passionate about this, because if I can just impact one woman to step outside that fear and really step into her authenticity and let the rest fall away, just think of the legacy you could leave behind.
Mm. Wow.
Your
Beautiful.
experience could change the lives of women around the globe. You don't know. So just be you. Don't worry about society, and it's time to drop all that.
Oh my God. I have books all around me.
Now it's time, Ray. It's time.
Genuinely, I'm writing 2 books this year. So, uh, you know, I'm excited. I know the power of it. And
Mhm.
one of them is actually a mini book. Who says that you got to write a big old book? So one of them is going to be a small book, and another one is more extended version because I don't want to delay. I don't want to delay getting this writing and this knowledge into the hands of other women.
Mhm.
I think it's time, and I think it's crucial time. There's urgency this year specifically to do something about it. So if
Mhm.
you've been sitting on your story, you know how many women I've met, they said, and we asked these questions like, how long have you been thinking about doing a book? You
Yeah.
know, the answer is like, my whole
Years.
life,
Yep.
decades, not years, decades.
Decades.
And
You
they
know,
haven't.
I'm 60 years old, and we're not getting any younger. And I've seen so many women not not write their book, not tell their story, and there's all these excuses. It's all fear based.
Yeah.
You know, if you, I'm going to write more books because I just know I have it in me, and I'm already starting to think about what I want to write. But for all our listeners out there today, if you have a book in you, don't worry, don't waste any more time. Just start writing. Even if you just do conscious writing, just get it out on paper. I mean, it's just there's so many women who are going to be able to relate to your story, and they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to come out into the world with your book.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Brenda, I'm excited of having you at the Women Thrive
Me
Summit.
too.
How do women connect with you if they wanted to stalk you a little bit or drop you a message?
I've had stalkers before
In the best way
in the
possible.
best way possible. My website, brendahukel.com, all my social media links are out there, and my contact information's out there. I'd love to
Okay.
connect.
Yeah. So go ahead in a good way. Go stalk Brenda a little bit. Check out. Listen, if you want to work with somebody, I say you better go and stalk them. Because you want to know what they about, what stories are they
Mhm.
sharing? How do they work with people? It's important to get to know your mentors. You want to buy their book, you want to scroll their social media profile. So I always say, like, before people work with me, I say, go stalk me.
Mhm.
Go check out everything that I have put out and then come back and tell me you want to work with me. Before you do that, you don't know. You don't know me.
Right, right.
So I definitely tell my audience, go stalk me and then come back.
That's good advice.
Amazing. So Brenda Hukel .com, correct?
brendahukel.com. Yep.
Amazing. Well, Brenda will be speaking at the Women Thrive Summit in March 16th to the 20th. Do you remember which day you're speaking at?
I'm speaking March 16th at 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time.
Amazing. So you got to be there to one, get all the amazing goodies that Brenda has shared today, and two, to be in a room to experience it, experience the magic, because every speaker have prepared not only their talk, their resources and gifts, but their stories. And this is going to be a moment for you to be in that room, to have that experience, and meet other women. I love seeing in the chat when, let's say,
Mhm.
Brenda's presenting, other speakers presenting. It's like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. This is a reminder. This is so timely. Like, you never know. One session could start your transformation, put you on a path of publishing your book, maybe leaving your career and starting your own business, or pivoting what you're doing, or starting that next breakthrough of something that you've always dreamed of. This event is a massive catalyst for that. So go over to womenthrivesummit.com right now, save your free spot or upgrade, because as you said, Brenda and other speakers will have wonderful gifts for you in the digital goodie bag. And just be there for the transformation and the fun that we're going to bring.
It'd be fun. I can't wait.
Oh, thank you so much for showing
Thank
up and
you.
sharing your wisdom today.
Thank you, Ray.
I appreciate it. And to all of our audience, thank you so much for tapping in. Nearly every day now, we're streaming conversations with our speakers. So tune into more of these live conversations, or go back to on our feed and find other live streams with our amazing speakers from the 2026 Women Thrive Summit. They are phenomenal, handpicked women who are going to be taking the stage March 16th to the 20th, live virtually on Zoom. And the event is free to attend. So why not register your spot? Thank you all for being here today. And I look forward to seeing you at the Women Thrive Summit in March. Take care for now.